Emery burst through the backyard gate, dark curls bouncing with each step, brown eyes wide with excitement behind round glasses that had slipped halfway down their nose. Their purple jacket flapped like wings as they ran, and their yellow sneakers left prints in the dewy morning grass. "I fixed it. I actually fixed it," was all anyone could hear as they raced toward the old oak tree. The treehouse had been there forever, or at least that's what Grandpa said. Its wooden boards were weathered silver gray, and ivy twisted up the rope ladder like nature's own decoration. But inside, oh, inside was where the magic happened. Gears and springs covered every wall, collected from old clocks and music boxes at yard sales. A telescope poked through one window, and strings of battery-powered lights twinkled like stars. "Ready for launch?" The voice belonged to Marcus, who was already waiting inside. He'd helped build the control panel from an old computer keyboard and some blinking Christmas lights. His wheelchair was parked by the window, where he could reach all the important buttons. Almost. Just need to connect this last wire. Hands steady despite the excitement, the final piece clicked into place. The whole treehouse hummed to life, lights dancing in patterns nobody had programmed. "Whoa, did you feel that?" Zara poked her head through the trapdoor, her hijab today a beautiful shade of blue that matched the morning sky. She was the best at spotting patterns, which made her perfect for reading the time dial they'd made from an old pizza pan. The humming grew louder. The walls began to shimmer. Through the windows, the world outside started to blur like a watercolor painting in the rain. "It's working. It's actually—" Whoosh! Everything stopped. The humming, the lights, even the birds outside had gone quiet. Through the windows, the backyard looked different. The grass was taller. The fence was painted green instead of white. And was that a horse in the neighbor's yard? Guys?" Marcus pointed at the time dial. The arrow they'd glued on was spinning backwards, past the numbers they'd written, past everything, until it stopped at 1885. They climbed down carefully, or in Marcus's case, used the awesome pulley system they'd installed last summer. The world felt both familiar and strange. The neighborhood was there, but instead of houses, there were farms. Instead of cars, a horse-drawn wagon rattled down what would someday be Maple Street. "Excuse me." "Excuse me," a voice called out. 3 children about their age stood by the fence, eyes wide with curiosity. "We've never seen you before. Are you new to town?" The children looked different from anyone in their regular neighborhood. The girl wore a long dress with an apron, her blonde hair in 2 tight braids. The 2 boys had suspenders and caps, their pants ending at their knees. "We're visiting," Zara said carefully. "I'm Zara, and these are my friends." The girl in braids tilted her head. "That's a peculiar name. And what's that you're wearing on your head?" "It's my hijab. I wear it because of my religion." "Religion?" One of the boys stepped forward. "You mean you're not Christian?" The 3 time travelers exchanged glances. This was trickier than fixing a time machine. "There are lots of different religions," Marcus explained gently. "People believe different things, and that's okay." The 1885 children looked confused. "But everyone here goes to the same church, except for the Changs who run the laundry. They're different." "Different how?" "They're from China. They don't look like us or talk like us. Papa says we shouldn't play with their son." A small boy was watching them from across the field. He looked about their age, standing alone by a vegetable garden. Without hesitation, Emery waved at him. "Want to play with us?" The boy's face lit up, but the girl in braids grabbed her arm. "You can't. He's not like us." "Why does that matter?" The question hung in the air like morning mist. The 1885 children couldn't answer it, not really. They just kept repeating what they'd been told. It's just how things are. "Well, maybe things should change." Zara walked straight over to the boy. "Hi, I'm Zara. What's your name?" "Li Wei," the boy said shyly, "but everyone calls me Lee." "Cool name.
Want to see something amazing?
Soon all 7 children were crowded in the treehouse. The 1885 kids had never seen anything like it. Not just the gears and lights, but the way everyone worked together. Marcus explained the controls while Lee translated some of the numbers into Chinese characters. Zara showed the girl, whose name was Mary, how the telescope worked. The 2 boys, Thomas and James, were fascinated by the pulley system. "This is incredible," Mary said happily, her earlier worries forgotten. "Lee, you're so smart with numbers." Lee blushed. "My father taught me. He's very good at calculations for his business." "I wish we went to school together," Thomas said. "You could help me with arithmetic." The afternoon flew by. They played games that needed no explanation. Tag was tag in any century. They shared stories. Lee taught them to count to 10 in Mandarin. Zara showed Mary how to wrap a scarf like a hijab, which Mary thought was beautiful. Marcus beat everyone at the strategy game they invented using acorns and pine cones, his different way of moving giving him a unique perspective on the board. As the sun began to set, painting the sky orange and pink, the time travelers knew they had to go. "Will we see you again?" Mary asked, holding Zara's hand. "Probably not," Marcus said honestly. "But you'll remember today, right?" "How could we forget?" James grinned. "This was the best day ever." "Promise me something?" The request was quiet but serious. "Promise you'll keep playing with Lee. And when you meet other people who seem different, remember today. Remember how much fun we all had together." The 1885 children nodded solemnly. Even at their young age, they understood something important happened. Back in the treehouse, hands worked together to reverse the connections. The humming started again. The walls shimmered. The world blurred. Whoosh! They were home. The fence was white again. Cars drove down Maple Street. Everything was back to normal, except for them. "That was amazing!" Zara couldn't stop smiling. "Did you see Mary's face when she looked through the telescope?" "And Lee was so good at the pattern game," Marcus added. "Way better than me, and I've been practicing for months." Through the window they could see their own diverse neighborhood. Mrs. Chen working in her garden. The Ahmed family playing soccer in their yard. Mr. Rodriguez walking his 3 dogs. All these different people living side by side, being neighbors, being friends. "You know what's cool?" Emery adjusted their glasses, which had gotten crooked during their adventure. "We changed history today. Maybe just a little bit, but Mary and Thomas and James, they'll think differently now. And maybe they'll teach their kids to think differently too." "Like ripples in a pond," Zara said. "One small change spreading out and out." They spent the rest of the evening drawing pictures of their adventure and writing down everything they could remember. The time machine still hummed quietly in the corner, ready for another journey, but they weren't in a hurry. They had plenty to think about right here in the present. A week later, something interesting happened. Zara was at the library looking for books about time travel, just in case they needed technical tips. When she found an old journal in the local history section, the leather cover was worn, but the writing inside was still clear. "May 15, 1885, she read aloud to her friends. "Today I met the most special children. They taught me that differences aren't something to fear, but something to celebrate. I've decided to invite Li Chang to my birthday party next week. Mother was surprised, but I told her what my new friends taught me. Friendship has no boundaries." The journal was signed Mary Elizabeth Patterson. "She kept her promise," Marcus said quietly. They kept reading. Mary had grown up to become a teacher, one of the first in their town to insist that all children, regardless of background, deserved education. She had started a friendship club where kids from different families could play together. The journal was full of stories about the children she'd helped and the bridges she'd built. "Look at this." Zara pointed to a photograph tucked between the pages. It showed an elderly Mary surrounded by children of all backgrounds, all smiling, all together. On the back, in shaky handwriting, "My dear friends from the treehouse were right. Our differences make us stronger. I spent my whole life remembering that one magical day and trying to live up to the lesson they taught me.
Wherever they are, I hope they know they changed my world.
The three friends sat quietly for a moment, understanding the power of what they'd done. One afternoon, one conversation, one friendship across time, and it had changed everything. "Want to go again?" Marcus asked finally. "The time machine's still working." They looked at each other and smiled. There was a whole history out there, full of people who just needed to see that being different wasn't something to hide or fear. It was something to share, to celebrate, to bring people together. The treehouse waited patiently in the old oak tree, gears ticking, lights blinking, ready for whatever adventure came next. Because Emery, Marcus, and Zara had learned the most important lesson of all. Every person in every time had something special to offer. You just had to be willing to say hello. That night, as stars twinkled above their neighborhood, the same stars that had shone on Mary and Lee and all the children throughout history, three best friends made a pact. They would use their time machine to show others what they'd learned. One trip at a time, one friendship at a time, they would help the world see that our differences weren't walls between us. They were bridges. And bridges were meant to bring people together,